Here we have a tree which I want to turn into a teepee, which I call a treepee, T-R-E-E-P-E-E. And we're going to cut off most of the branches and then lean all the cut off trees that we want to cut off against this in the form of a teepee. And let's just show you the location's not ideal. There are houses not that far away. This is a firebreak which I'm trying to help these residents with by cutting it, so I think they'll be grateful for all the alien trees that I cut here. So we have already some cut branches which we have to put somewhere, so we're going to put them against our treepee. So let's set up a tripod. So it's beginning to look a bit like a teepee. We're going to clear under here, level it, create a bit of space over there. The whole thing is to place branches on a standing tree in a pyramid shape, and it's coming along quite nicely. These are branches, most of them that we cut last week. We were clearing a firebreak, so they've dried out and weigh probably almost 3/4 to a half of what they originally weighed. I'm going to put my stuff inside for a stealth camp and then finish covering them. Our entrance is going to be facing away from the houses at the back here. This would be the south side. Now for the all-important task of getting a level sleeping spot. So here we have our level enough area, soft sandy. We'll cover it with a mat, put an air mattress on, and it should be fine. I didn't check the weather, which direction the rain's coming from, but we are pretty sheltered from that side. Not so sheltered, or not at all sheltered from this side. So I think we're going to have to build a shelter, lean-to on this side with the rest of the branches. So our shelter is more or less done. This is where I'm going to sleep. Unfortunately, this is the morning and it's going to rain tonight. I don't want this to get wet. I don't want to have to carry it home again because I've got more stuff that I must bring. So I'm going to bury this under leaves. Hope nobody finds it and that it's here when I come back. It's got my air mattress, sleeping bag. So we're going to cover it as best possible, then just hope for the best that no one finds it between now and this evening. It's going to rain like cats and dogs this evening, so we're going to have to really, I've got some plastic in the bag, we're going to have to build a bivvy bag. But I'm going to come back towards the evening and stealth camp here. So I've now hidden my bags as best as I can, and now we're going to make our way out of here and come back tonight. So here is our stealth shelter. This is the northwest side. This is the side I'm expecting the rain to come from. It could come from the exact opposite. I'll check on the weather report. Well, evening has arrived. The weather looks glorious. The wind has dropped. There's no sign of rain, but I know that it's going to dump on us at midnight. We're here back at our stealth shelter. Looks undisturbed. The only thing we have to be careful of is not drawing attention to ourselves with noise and light. So let's get this camp set up. Always feel I lose a bit of my life blowing up this airbed, but it really makes for a lovely, comfortable night's sleep. So that's what we're going to do. And if it rains too hard, at least we know we can float. Airbed inside a plastic covering that's going to have to serve. It's full of holes against the rain, but we have another piece of plastic. So here we have our lovely warm sleeping bag, and we have 2 layers of plastic. I will admit to being pretty chuffed because this is a completely new area. I've been clearing a firebreak and this is on the edge of the firebreak. I don't know what these people around here are like. Are they all trigger happy? Are they friendly? Are they what? But anyway, it's nearly dark And yeah, it's going to be raining, and that provides stealth, but that only comes at midnight. But I don't think we're going to have any problems. The only problem is sound travels like crazy around here, so one has to really keep it low. I'm talking as softly as possible. But so I'm super excited that all these branches that I used, which are alien vegetation, in clearing the firebreak, I could get to use again in the stealth shelter. It's a rudimentary stealth shelter. I wasn't scared that if it rains, I feel I've got enough plastic to keep warm. I've got a nice warm sleeping bag. I've got a raincoat. I'm hoping to survive the night. I brought some food and some drink with. So this is a treepee shelter, Treepee, play on the word teepee. I wanted to become part of stealth camping language. Treepee is one of my favorite ways of making a stealth shelter, which is to pile branches around a standing living tree. It makes it strong, it won't blow over, no matter what the wind is like. Very easy to make. And in general, I'm just pretty pleased with this setup. I had to keep the food simple because I had to bring enough bedding and plastic, and that took up most of my space. I was glad I could motorcycle here earlier on in the day, and that's another dream of mine, to motorcycle through. I do like motocross, cross country, through the dirt, scrambling, and I'm getting to do that. I was able to do the dirt path here along the firebreak, and this is quite a few miles from that one has to walk, or in this case I had to walk here tonight, but I had to leave the motorbike behind. But I'm getting so excited at having another of my dreams being fulfilled, which is to ride a motorbike on dirt roads. So yeah, I'm getting better at that, getting more excited about that's another thing off my bucket list. I've got some wine, which I'm about to have in a moment. I had to keep things very primitive, just bring 1 cup with for the food, for everything. But you know, it's not about the food. It's just so exciting that I could be sitting at home watching TV. This is all dead time, this evening time. You're doing nothing. It's just wasted hours in a sense. And here, instead, I'm having a memory. I will forever remember this place, just like I remember every single place I've stealth camped before. So here I am creating a memory. We hope it'll be a good memory, even if it's not. If it rains, I think I've got enough clothes to stay warm. And it's the beauty of stealth camping. It's the time that you get to spend alone. I won't, I'm sure, see any satellites or stars, my good old friends. The moon's going to come up at about 10, 11 o'clock, so it's going to be dark. And then there's only a small fragment of moon, so the night will be fairly dark. But how wonderful to be out here in a new place, stealth camping. Wow, wow, wow. I think one just has to celebrate small victories in our lives. I'm sure you've done something today that you're pretty proud of, you're chuffed with. I hope you have, or think of something tomorrow. Yeah, it's just a part of today that I could build the shelter in the morning and then sleep here in the evening, walk home tomorrow morning after some breakfast. Wow. And there we've had a new experience, unlike anything we've had before, in a new area, trying something different. It's just too great for words. So, yeah, I guess I could tell you that I've been thinking about the personality of Christ, how Christ is he's low-key. He doesn't like to vaunt himself. I mean, he totally is the opposite of the disciples who are always arguing who's the greatest. Now, Christ is the greatest.
But it's just so far from his personality to want to lord it, or to call himself the greatest, or to compete to be the greatest, or to even care about being the greatest. And that is why God loves Christ so much, because he doesn't seek power and glory and fame and everything that the normal people and that Satan seek after. He's fairly low-key. In Isaiah talks about, my servant shall not strive nor cry aloud, or that's just Christ's personality. It's just low-key. It's almost introverted. It's quiet. It's not boastful. It's not bragging. And yet he knows his power. He knows the source of his strength, which is the Father. And he's got just such a wonderful personality, and it's been coming out in reading Matthew 13, all the parables, the parable of the sower. Well, he tells these stories in parables because he is the star of that parable. He is the sower. The parable of the sower that fell about on the different types of ground, that is Christ. And then the parable of a man who sows, and then the devil or an enemy comes and sows tares among his. That's also the good sower is Christ. And then there's a parable of a man who throws a net into sea. That's Christ. And he catches fish of all kinds that get sorted at the end. And then there's a parable of a woman who puts yeast in some dough, 3 measures of dough, and it rises and fills everything. It's how the kingdom's going to spread throughout the world. And that is Christ. And he's the person who's initiated the sowing of the dough. And the leaven represents how his kingdom is spreading through the earth. And then there's another parable of a man who goes and finds a treasure in a field and a pearl of great price, and he goes and sells all and goes and buys the field or the pearl. And that's Christ, who's also given up everything he has, his glory in heaven, to purchase us with his blood. I find just because Christ doesn't want to exalt or boast or anything, he tells these parables where he is secretly in the parables. And that is one of the reasons why Christ talks in parables, because he's not wanting to boast. He's not wanting to draw attention to himself. He's not saying, me. Look, I'm the greatest. I'm the star of this parable. He's not saying, I went and sowed and some of my words fall on bad ground. No, he just leaves it to us, the hearer, through the Holy Spirit, to figure it all out, that it's actually referring to Christ. So all the parables in Matthew 13 are about Christ as the central figure. And as I say, I've just figured that out. That's why he speaks in parables, because he doesn't want to boast. He doesn't want to come across as, I'm the greatest, I'm the star of the show. Christ is so humble, low-key, not seeking power, but that is just the kind of wonderful person that the Father wants to have in charge of this world. So I'm looking forward to spending time with myself. I enjoy that time out here with, you can pray, you can think, you can meditate, you can think of go through scriptures, think of different things. There's no distractions, there's no TV, there's no computer, there's no lights, there's nothing out here. It's going to be fairly isolated. Just have a look at my view upwards. You see how all the branches come to here's the tree of the treepee, and then all the branches were piled onto the different branches, and this is my view. This is looking east. I'm thinking if the rain is going to start in the east and it's going to move its way around all the way till it's the opposite direction, coming from the west. But it depends how late the rain starts, because the wind direction is going to change. So I'm expecting the rain to start from here and then come eventually to the other side. But just have a look. This is what my shelter looks like. Pretty wonderful. Here, looking down at, here I am on my air mattress. I just love this thing. It makes it so comfortable. And taking the trouble to level it also make such a huge difference, so that you don't roll off it all night. And yeah, when you're on an airbed, it just keeps you from that coldness of the ground. So I've got a sleeping bag I can climb into. Normally I just put the sleeping bag over me, but tonight I think I'm going to actually climb into it if it's not too hot. And I think I need to, because when the rain comes, I need to have everything covered with as much plastic as possible. So I think it's going to be glorious tonight. I think I'm just going to have some wine quickly. The conditions are pretty primitive around here. I had to bring wine in one of these plastic bags from a box, and I had to bring a cup to eat everything out of. So I'm going to pour some wine into this cup. Well, I hope you're having as blessed a time as I am. Cheers. That is a nice red wine. I like to, as I coin the term treepee, I want to coin another term, hypoethanolic. Hypo meaning too low, ethanol, drinking alcohol. My blood ethanol level is too low, so I'm hypoethanolic, like you can get hypoglycemic, meaning too low in sugar. So we're rectifying being hypoethanolic. And I also brought some soft drinks for later on. I didn't bring any tea, which I might regret later on, but I thought I already have brought so much soft drink earlier on in the day that I'll just have to do without tea for one evening. And it's just beautiful out here, and I'm not thirsty anyway, so wonderful. So there is, we call this a pop suck, or a soft bag of wine. It comes from a box of wine, but I couldn't fit the box in. Well, it's midnight. I had a lovely sleep. I'm feeling a little hungry, so I'm going to open a tin of peaches. Let's see if I can find where it is. Well, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I had a lovely night's sleep. Miraculously, it never rained, not a drop. Got my bed all ready for a new sellotape to stick all the pieces of plastic together. But I never had a problem because it didn't rain. So I thought, let's not push our luck. Let's try and get out of here before it gets light. So I've packed up. There's my one haversack. There's my other haversack. And we're about to get out of here.